Welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast, your free weekly resource to make you a better fitness business leader. I'm JT, the boss of Active Management, and I'm pumped with the rest of the Active Management team to be the premier sponsor again in 2017. Doing this helps us achieve our why in business, which is to reduce the healthcare costs across the globe, so we love supporting it. Between you and us, we can get more people moving and more often. So let's get our hustle mode on. No matter where you are listening in the world, make sure you check out www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active for an extra special business resource to free up time for you so that you can then do what you love. Okay, enough from me. Who's on this week's show, Chantel?
Thanks, JT. Hey, everyone. Welcome along to this week's show. We have a huge lineup for you this week. Our special guest is Matt Wright from Healthtrax Fitness and Wellness, who shares tips on leadership development for managers and their teams. We talk about hiring new staff, plus he tells us about the session that he's going to be presenting at NEHRSA this year. Next up, I chat to Lynn Nieto from Augie's Quest. We talk about the foundation and about their big fundraising event that's coming up in just a few months' time. And we're finishing the show today with the awesome Mike RC from Loud Rumour, who is going to join us today for the pre-call Quick Fire 5. Now, there is lots and lots to get through, so we're going to get cracking straight away. And we're starting off the show with Emmett Williams from MyZone. You might recall Emmett joined us last year on show 78, when we talked about how technology and data can come together to help drive customer connection, member engagement, and growth for fitness business owners. Today is part 2 of that interview, and we're going to dive into the chat where Emmett is about to talk about the future of product development for the fitness industry. Take a listen.
Yeah, this is really sort of sexy stuff. Virtual classes was really hot. And look, companies like WEXA and Fitness on Demand have really led the way, if you're familiar with those brands. And virtual classes are about either scheduled classes inside a group exercise room via a big movie theatre, or on-demand classes. And the whole ROI there is to use up dead space throughout the day and to service members in a space that wasn't ordinarily being used. But the lesson that has really sort of come about is from Peloton. A lot of your listeners, I know, Chantel, you've spoken about Peloton before. Peloton is the indoor cycling bike that you buy. It's delivered to your house. You have a tablet on top of the bike, and you can either tap into a live class in New York or you can go on demand. But their secret is that there's two-way feedback. It's not just the instructor leading the class. The data from the bike is also feeding through onto the screen, and there's a leaderboard, and the instructor can connect with you. Even if you're in Sydney, Australia, and you happen to be sort of doing a session late at night, which happens to be a 6 a.m. session in New York City, they can communicate with you. And that's what virtual classes have lacked up until now. And at MyZone, we're working with both the companies I mentioned, both Fitness on Demand and WEXA, to provide that two-way feedback to drive engagement. Where virtual classes will be going is the team training environment and this smartphone. So when I say team training, I'm talking about a rigging system that's got a TV embedded into it, whereby classes are prescribed through the monitor. There's still a coach there motivating you and giving you feedback, but the prescription of exercise technique is through the TV monitor itself. So you'll see that come about over the next 12 months, certainly. And then the smartphone app. And this is not a play to compete with the Beachbodies of the world, the DVD, infomercial content play. That world, there's a very infamous number about that world. And the number is this: 25% of all customers that purchase fitness content on an infomercial late at night, only 25% open it when it arrives at their house.
Wow.
The other 75% leave it in the box, which is really shocking. But virtual classes through the smartphone is not really to compete with that. Rather, it's to complement your bricks and mortar experience. So if you're traveling on business, if you just don't have time to get down to the gym, it's a Saturday afternoon, you're meant to get a workout in, you did not, but you can do a boot camp in your backyard for 25 minutes, then that's the purpose that it will provide. So virtual class is very, very exciting. The smartphone app was a hot topic as well. Up until now, smartphone apps have been rather limited. We've all got 200 apps on our phone and we all only use maybe 15 or 20 of them, if that. And the gym app is, of course, that one that doesn't provide that much value typically. It might have a group exercise timetable on it. But moving forward, it will be about the scheduler, particularly for the boutique world who are already using the scheduler. So a Barry's Boot Camp, a Shred 415, an Orange Theory, hey, book me into the class, let me do it through the app. Boutiques have done very well at that, but that will migrate out into the broader community of gyms. In-app purchases will become popular, so purchasing personal training and other products, spa, massage, that type of thing. Beacon communication that I spoke about 5 minutes ago, that will be collecting data and pushing messages through your smartphone app. And, what it really comes down to is integration between the vendors. And, case in point would be, what we're doing with NetPulse at the moment. And also Perkville, if you've heard of that company, they're a loyalty program that give you points for your behavior. At MyZone, we're integrating with both of them at the moment because we've realized as vendors that we need to play nice. We need to work together because the end user needs to have that one clean experience where it's all very interoperable, as they say.
And it comes back to that point that you made earlier on gamification as well, doesn't it? And when it comes to being rewarded for interactions.
Yeah. And look, gamification, I know I did listen to that episode that you referenced, Chantel. It was a great one. The word itself has only been in the dictionary for something like, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And, the way I like to explain it is that it's the tingle in the toothpaste from the book, The Power of Habit. The toothpaste does not need that tingle in it to clean your teeth. The paste will do the job of cleaning your teeth. The tingle gives you that instant sense of satisfaction, that instant sense of reward, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel as if you've achieved something. And because you feel that sense of achievement, you have the chemical of opioid run through your brain. And opioid is what they call the liking drug. It's when you get a smile on your face and you like what's going on. It just feels good. Then when you get triggered to do it again, dopamine's released and you get the urge to go and run the same behavior because you want the same reward and you want to get a smile on your face. Without the reward and without the trigger, the whole thing falls down. And the challenge with fitness is that the reward is not always instant. Eating a block of chocolate, the reward is absolutely instant. It tastes fantastic. But exercise, not everyone gets the runner's high. Sometimes you're waiting 3 or 4 months before you lose the weight or you get the blood pressure down or whatever it may be. So it's important that we put tingle in the toothpaste. And the way we do that, at MyZone, we give you points and we give you post-workout emails and leaderboards and status ranking. But the way clubs can do it with their smartphone app is by saying, hey, high five, Chantel, great workout, come and get your smoothie for 50% off. Again, it's recognition to make you feel good.
Was there anything else in the product development side of things that you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, look, the final thing is just wearables and the stratification as they referenced it. Fitbit made wearables mainstream. 5 years ago, no one knew what wearable technology was. Fitbit put a lot of money behind it. They did great with their advertising campaign. But now, as the dust is settling, wearables are built for purpose. So Strava are a fantastic app if you're a bike rider. And they've got bike riding metrics, and that will suit you. Garmin are fantastic if you're a runner because it will measure your pace and cadence and whatnot. And Fitbit does a great job at motivating you to do general exercise. But as consumers mature, they're looking for something that is built for purpose. So it's about all us wearable guys getting better at what we're doing and honing in on our avatar and giving them exactly what they want.
Well, it sounds like to me that we are going to be hearing a lot more from the wearable tech companies in 2017. During that segment, you will have heard Emmett refer to beacon technology and gamification. So we spoke about both of those topics in show 78, which I mentioned earlier. So if you missed it, just head over to the website, fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, and take a listen to that show. For now, it is time to head straight to our main interview with Matt Wright.
The Fitness Business Podcast is very appreciative of our podcast partners. Here's a quick word from one of our partners.
Active Management helps owners and managers have the business work for them. Test the quality of resources with a free download at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active. Matt Wright is a fitness business leader, educator, and innovator. He's the Senior Director of Fitness for Healthtrax Fitness and Wellness, the President of NEHRSA, and he serves on the IDEA Personal Trainer Committee. Matt holds a master's degree in sport and exercise physiology, and in addition, he's taught college courses in kinesiology, anatomy and physiology, and exercise technique and prescription. I started off by asking Matt to share with us any apps, systems, or rituals that he uses to stay on top of his workload.
Well, for sure, Chantal, every day can be very busy, but just being able to prioritize is very key. So I start my day with personal time, which has definitely been key for my success. It really sets the tone for the day and reminds me of why I do what I do. By placing that emphasis on my personal development, it helps me become a better leader. The second, I am the master of notepads and reminders. If you saw my office, you would get a glimpse of what I'm talking about, which is sort of like a tornado, but I know where everything is. I keep separate notebooks for every hat that I wear, whether it's fitness director or trainer or one of the boards that I serve on. I just try to make sure that I'm organized and I prioritize what I need to be doing that day. So that really helps. And third, most people tease me about this, but I have a 7-to-7 rule, which helps me balance out my professional and personal life. I found myself constantly checking email, and it was becoming more of a habit than a benefit. So what I've done is I've established times that I'm connected, and it helps others get in touch with me better, but also allows me to perform the deliberate work that I need to, rather than just going through those motions.
So is that between 7, does that mean between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. that's when you would be connected, and outside those hours you don't check email, social media?
I really try to stay off of any sort of email and social media after those hours. And I just found that I'm so much more productive. And it also allows the other people who need to reach me know when they can. And I think 12 hours a day is plenty.
Absolutely. And I would imagine that helps with balance and family life and stuff like that as well.
My wife appreciates it very much so.
I could imagine. Now, your title is Director of Fitness. So do you want to start off by explaining to us what happens in the day of a life of a Director of Fitness?
One thing I can say is that every day is different, which I absolutely love. I am not the type of person that could just sit at a cubicle all day long and try to do work. So it's really all about a few things, which is time management, which you can't teach. It's just really something that you have to be able to practice with and get better at. And you also have to be able to be flexible in your responsibilities, because I may go in with a plan, but that's not necessarily the plan that I get to do each day. And I think of most importance, which is leading by example. We're there to make sure that we're on stage at all times, whether it's for our team members or our members or other people that we interact with each day. So that's been really, really big. Really what I do is I balance my time between servicing our members, training and development with our teams, and working one-on-one with a few clients and collaborating with the senior management team to deliver our promise to our members. In my position, being as unique as it is it's important that I focus on what I do behind the scenes for our clubs to improve the systems and programming. Like I said, my office is like my own personal lab where I can research programs, equipment, service tools, and so on. I then take that information and share it with all of the fitness directors to best serve their teams and our members.
I can tell just in how you describe your role that you clearly love it. What would you say is your favorite part of the role that you do?
The best part of my role is being able to develop the fitness teams and turn them into the fitness professionals that we really want them to become. Whether they're an industry vet or recently certified, I like to lead them toward their career and personal goals. The best part about focusing on the fitness directors and the trainers' development is the impact it can make globally. For instance, if each fitness director or trainer has 10 or 20 or even 30 clients, if you multiply that by the 200 plus trainers in our organization, it's a beautiful thing to see the growth in our team members, but also how we can impact the lives of our communities.
I love that, Matt. I want to talk to you a little bit more about the leadership of a fitness team. What do you feel as though the leadership behaviours are that are needed in order to lead a fitness team?
I will have to say is Susan Fowler a few weeks ago made it very easy for me because I really feel as though she hit the nail on the head with the psychological needs of our team members. It's important to give them autonomy to make the smart choices, relate to them, and to show both competence and confidence in their abilities to perform their responsibilities. I believe that by empowering them to learn and grow is what takes them from good to great. And in the words of Simon Sinek, start with why. Remind your teams why they are doing what they do and make sure that they're always leading with their passion.
Tribe, Matt just mentioned one of our 2016 guests, Susan Fowler, who appeared on show 76. And during that show, she shared with us crucial questions that leaders need to ask every day. If you missed that show, just head over to the website, fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, type in her name in the search field, and you can check out that show. Take a listen. It was a really great one. Okay, let's get back to Matt. And tell us, in regards to professional development, we've already talked about the books, and I know that, you know, you're a great fan of Start With Why, and you mentioned how important professional development is to you. What are some other habits or professional development avenues that you do to make you a better leader?
I have to say that my professional development is led by the amazing people of the industry, both online and by attending different conferences. Being able to learn from people like Bill McBride, Emmett Williams, and Chuck Runyon, who have all been guests on the show, just to name a few, is nothing short of fantastic for me because they're really paving the path for me as a rising professional in this field.
What do you do with your team to develop them?
So a little over a year ago, I had developed and presented to our management team about a way to give back to our directors and trainers through an educational platform called Healthtrax University. We always talk about delivering great performances, and I felt we needed to provide the best tools and practices for them to be successful. What we do is we send our newest trainers and fitness directors to a 2-day hands-on workshop, which focuses on customer service, client programming, our Healthy Start program for new members, member and client retention strategies, and most importantly, how to be successful as a personal trainer. Since starting this program, we've seen an increase in team member retention and an increase in fitness revenues across all metrics.
Now, Matt, we've talked a little bit about leadership so far, but, you know, having a great team obviously starts with selecting and finding great people for your team. So talk to us about how you actually go about finding quality people. Perhaps you can explore for us some of the interview techniques or even questions that you might ask when you're recruiting new employees.
Well, this isn't quite how I find them, but what I have to tell myself is to be patient. Often in the industry, there are shotgun hires. However, we know that doesn't produce the results we are looking for. So what I do is I try to forecast when we're going to need new hires and then post for them approximately 30 to 45 days before we will need to bring them on. We'll then put them through a 3-step process that involves a one-on-one with me, hands-on with our team members, and lastly, a round table with the management team. By being able to slow down the process, once again, it in turn leads to better and more effective success.
So say that again for me, Matt. Did you say 30 to 45 days in advance is when you are advertising for a new recruit?
Yeah, we found that window allows us the time to be able to meet with all candidates. And once meeting with those candidates, it usually takes about 1 to 2 weeks to put them through that 3-step process. And our time is valuable. That's one thing that we have to make sure that we always take advantage of. I always preach to my clients, which is we try to follow the C principle of training, which is make sure that you're safe, be effective in reaching your goals, and make sure that we reach those goals in an efficient manner. I look at a lot of the things that we do with our team members in a very similar way as what it is when I work with one-on-one clients.
Matt, how many people do you manage currently?
For my staff, between all 18 of our centers, there's approximately 220 plus trainers. But I'm fortunate to be able to have 17 other fitness directors who serve each of those teams.
And how do you keep people engaged and keep them performing day in and day out?
Well, we work in a very fast-paced and constantly changing field, so keeping engagement high is probably one of the most difficult challenges. If I had to narrow it down to two things that have been successful for our teams are providing daily deposits and establishing reciprocal accountability between the trainers and the fitness directors. Every day of the week, I send an email or post to our Club Connect account, a different message to guide them and build a habit for them. Club Connect has just served as a phenomenal communication intranet for our company. For instance, Mondays, I send a business update and goals for the week. Tuesdays, an article that could be on customer service or some type of new training modality. Wednesdays, our exercise or program of the day. Thursdays, motivational story. And then we end the week with a Friday recap and then stories of growth and success of our team members.
And Matt, tell me, how important is it that you remain consistent with doing those posts?
I will admit that it was a challenge at first because I would post one here, one there, and we weren't getting as much active engagement. But since, once again, I've made it that daily habit for myself, it's in turn become that daily habit for everyone else. I mean, just the other day, I had posted something that said, hey, are you listening? Email Matt and I'll be happy to send you a $25 gift card to anywhere you want. Yeah. And sure enough, the emails came flooding in. So
I bet they did.
It was a fun little spin on things to get people engaged. And sure enough, I've seen the usage go up quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to remember because I love that concept of having those communication pieces and having, set days of the week when you send them out. But one of the conversations that I often have with personal trainers is consistency is key. And just like if you're generating a client newsletter, and you want to create a relationship with your customers and with your members, being consistent with that delivery of communication is so, so important because quite often I think we get enthusiastic and we think, oh yeah, we're going to send out a newsletter once a month or once every couple of months or a email like in your example once a day or once every few days. But then that enthusiasm after a couple of days kind of winds down a little bit and you find that you're doing it sporadically. But really, as you've just said to us, in order to properly engage with whether it be our team members, our staff, or our customers, consistency is key and continuing to deliver that message on a regular basis is so, so important. So thank you so much for that example. Now, Matt, you during your bio, I mentioned to everyone that you're, of course, speaking at NEHRSA this year, which is incredibly exciting. Now, your topic, I believe, is From Mice to Lions, turning your personal trainers into a sales team. First of all, congratulations on a sensational topic.
Thank you very much.
I love it. I love it. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your session?
So I will say I'm truly honored to be speaking at NEHRSA this year. Not only is this my first time speaking, but it's actually my first time as an attendee as well. This is like the Super Bowl of conferences out there for us. So it's definitely something that I'm both nervous and excited for, but I really look forward to being able to share what I've been able to found to be so successful for our organization, for everybody else to take it back to theirs. So what I'm going to be discussing is I'll be talking a little bit about my 4 Ps of being a fitness professional. I'll also discuss how customer service is the key to an increase in both sales and retention. And I'll be sharing the strategies used when providing professional recommendations to increase active client penetration for both one-on-one and small group training.
Well, I've got to tell you, it is my first NEHRSA as well, and I'm really excited. And I think that based on what you've spoken to us today about, I think you're going to get a whole lot more attendees to your session because if what you've told us today is just a taste of things to come and a taste of what you are doing within your business, then I think that is a great testament to what your session is going to be like. So I'm really, really excited about that. And just a reminder to everyone that NEHRSA is coming up in March. It is not that far away now. And I'm sure you can still grab your tickets. All you need to do is go through to our show notes and we'll make sure that we pop a link there through to the NEHRSA website so that you can come along as well. And hopefully sign up and see Matt doing his session. So Matt, let me ask you this. If you were interviewing yourself today, and we've covered a lot of ground already, is there any one question that you would ask yourself that I haven't already asked you?
This is a question that often gets asked to me whenever I do our workshops or I'm speaking, which is, what is the best advice you can give to someone who wants to take his or her career to the next level? My best advice for all fitness professionals is be deliberate in your practices. Whatever it is you're doing, do it with intent, with passion, and the heart of a teacher. And remember, in order to lead, you must follow first.
Matt, that is really great advice. It actually reminds me just how important it is to learn from and to listen to people that inspire us and encourage us to grow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Tribe, we're going to be back with Matt in just a minute, but first, here's a quick word from one of our sponsors. We'd like to thank our sponsor, One Fit Stop, for their support, and we highly recommend all fitness professionals go to onefitstop.com to find out how their software will enable you to take control of day-to-day management in your fitness business. One Fit Stop's scheduling, client management, programming, and payment collection tools will set your business up for success. Now let's go back to Matt, where he leaves us with his top tips for turning your personal trainers into a sales team.
Number 1, customer service is everything. Every member interaction should have 2 goals: enroll a new client or creating a raving fan. Remember, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Second, confidence comes with education and practice. Trainers can teach a squat with no problem, but making a professional recommendation is far more challenging. Role play and work with your teammates who have been successful. Lastly, it starts with the leader. Ask yourself, am I providing an environment which encourages feedback, learning, positive energy, results, and fun? Always remember, you have to have fun.
They are some excellent takeaways to finish with. I want to say a huge thank you to Matt for coming on the show, and also to remind you all that you can still register for NEHRSA this year. There's still time. Now, plus, Matt also mentioned a number of former guests that appeared throughout 2016 in those shows. So our fabulous, wonderful organising captain, Alicia, has very kindly included direct links to all of those shows in today's show notes. So that makes it really easy for you to go back and check them out. Now, as mentioned at the very beginning of the show, I recently caught up with Lynn Nieto to hear about Augie's quest and to talk about the incredible work that the fitness industry are doing to support this important cause. Tribe, I'm here today with a very special guest. I'd like to introduce you all to Lynn Nieto, and she is the wife of Augie Nieto and the voice of Augie's quest. She's also a board member of the ALS Therapy Development Institute. Lynn, welcome along to our show.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, do you want to start off by telling us, what is Augie's quest to cure ALS?
Augie's Quest was founded about 12 years ago as a way to raise funds for ALS research. And for the last over 11 years, we've directly funded the ALS Therapy Development Institute and are part of the Institute, a fundraising arm. And what the Institute does is it is the world's largest not-for-profit drug development institute solely for ALS. So we're basically in the business of building drugs and finding a cure for ALS.
That's wonderful. And you just briefly mentioned to me before that Augie was out there working out. So how's he doing from a health perspective?
Well, other than ALS, Augie's incredibly healthy. We are the lucky ones in this disease. We are coming up on 12 years since our diagnosis. That's coming up March. And in most cases, people pass away in 2 to 5 years with the disease. So Augie is doing really well given his diagnosis. He is on a ventilator and has been for the last 5 years, which has really improved his quality of life because your diaphragm is a voluntary muscle, which is what ALS attacks, your voluntary muscles. And during those last probably 4 years, he started a workout routine that he does 3 times a week. For a dog noise.
You know, Lynn, I'm normally the one with the dog barking in the background. No, that's all right. Keep going. So tell us about his workout routine.
So he's been working with a group that up until Augie had only worked with spinal cord injury patients, and they've since working with Augie have branched out, and it's a group called Project Walk. And the premise behind it is you may not be able to move the full amount of weight of your arm, but with some support or different parts of the body. But arm, for example, is that you can initiate movement a certain amount. And what we've really found is in Augie's case, part of the weakness was straight atrophy from not being able to flex those muscles. Mm-hmm. So it's been really neat to see. He definitely went from having very little muscle tone to now having nothing like he used to, but bicep tone. And it's just been really encouraging in a disease that's you wake up typically every day worse than the day before.
Oh, well, it's wonderful news to hear that he is active, with these workouts and that he's doing well. So do you want to maybe share with us what it is that Augie's Quest has been able to accomplish with the funds that have been raised through the fitness industry?
It's been the fitness industry will ultimately own the cure for this disease, and that's super encouraging. And what they've allowed us to do is to through the Institute to be able to look for promising treatments. And to date, we have one called AT-1501. I think they need to have better names for these drugs. But anyway, it's AT-1501 right now. And it's the most exciting thing in ALS research to date. And we hope to, with the funding, assuming that we can get the funding that we need, have it in phase 1 trials within 12 months into ALS patients. So that is amazingly encouraging. If you're diagnosed today with ALS, there's hope. When we were diagnosed 12 years ago, there was zero hope. So that is just, we're super excited about that. And that's just kind of come to pass in the last 6 months. And we also have a ALS Precision Medicine program, which basically is working with ALS patients to map their genome and to allow us to be able to discover potential treatments in a faster, more precise way of doing drug development. And we have enrolled 300 people to date in it, and we're in the midst of enrolling an additional 300. So this is 2 huge things in a disease that when we were diagnosed, there wasn't a dollar being spent in large pharma for research.
Well, that's wonderful news and a great show of support from the fitness industry. So talking about funds raised, tell us all about the Bash. I believe it is Augie's Quest's biggest fundraiser.
It is. It is the last night of the NEHRSA. We've held it. This will be our 12th annual, and the fitness industry shows up in droves, usually about 1,000 to 1,200 people. It's a fun, uplifting night. Usually has great entertainment, and it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. This year, it's on March 10th. It's a Friday, and it's in Los Angeles, so nearby where we are. And we would invite anyone that would like to come to go to our website. That is augiesquest.org/bash. Or if you get to Augie's Quest, and it's AUGIES Quest, if you get there and just look at fundraising, and it will take you to the Bash. We would love to have anyone come support us that can. That would be great.
Thank you so much to Lynn for coming on the show today. And make sure that you go to today's show notes where you're going to find a direct link to the Augie's Quest Bash event.
Precore Quickfire 5.
Tribe, I am joined today by Mike RC. He's the CEO and founder of Loud Rumor, which is a 7-figure fitness marketing agency that helps studios and independent gyms grow and get more members. He's an entrepreneur, a speaker, a coach, and an advertising pro. Plus, get this, Mike also hosts a top fitness business podcast, which is called The GSD Show. And you guys are going to hear a little bit more about that later on. Mike is also a former guest from the Fitness Business Podcast. Welcome back to the show, Mike.
What's up, Chantel? Thank you for the introduction. That was cool.
That's a big intro, right? But there's a lot to jam in there. Now, I'm really excited about having you back on the show. So are you ready to start off with our quick fire 5 questions?
Let's do it.
Okay, tell everyone, why do you do what you do?
I love fitness. That was actually my first passion. It was my first career. And I love marketing. That was my next passion, my next career. And I decided to just marry the two. And so now I get to just do marketing and advertising for fitness professionals. It's actually like the coolest thing I could have done.
It's pretty dream career, isn't it? And tell us, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Take care of your people. So I heard this one phrase was by Jack Daly. He said, put your people first, not your customers first. And he said, if you put your people first, the customers will be taken care of way more than if you just do it yourself. So I definitely work hard on taking care of the people. And we just won Best Place to Work 2016. So we did a good job.
That is cool. That is really cool. So obviously good advice that you've implemented into your business. And tell us, what's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
So funny thing is, I didn't know you were going to ask me this until like a few minutes ago. Yep. And I have it in my hand already. I don't know if you can see it. So this is my backup, my plan B. Every day I need to win at something. I know it sounds pretty messed up. I'm a very competitive person. And if I go to bed and I don't win something by the end of the night, then I'm off. Like I can't sleep. I'm focused on it. So I have to solve this in less than 3 minutes. If I haven't won something by the end of the day, this is what I'll win. And that's my goal.
I love it. So Tribe, Mike is holding up a Rubik's Cube, a very good Rubik's Cube. And talking about winning, I actually knew that about you. And do you see do you see the logo on my top today? I don't know if you can see that.
Nike.
Yeah. So Mike is a huge Nike fan, yeah? Yes. And I knew that about you, and I thought, you know what? We're going to match up today. It's going to be about winning. Today is all about winning.
Yes, it is. Yeah, every day is about winning.
Tell us, what's one book that you'd recommend and why?
That's a tough one. I have a lot of people asking that, and it's tough because I don't know what situation. Every book I've gotten, I got because of what I needed at that moment. I needed leadership advice in the past, and so I got books on leadership, like Starts with Why and Multipliers, which is great for that. Sales, Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar, is an awesome book. But for any business owner, I think a good standard is E-Myth. By Michael Gerber, the E-Myth revisited version.
Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, Mike, that I think of all of the people that have asked that question, E-Myth and Start With Why are the number 2 books that always show up. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good standard no matter what position you're in. Yeah. That's a good one to get out of your way. Yes.
Totally agree. So tell us, why should our tribe come back next week and listen to the main interview?
Because it's going to be amazing. That's why. And if you're really serious about growing your fitness business, then why aren't you listening? Because everything that we're going to be dropping in this episode is going to be gold. And if you take it and you implement it, you're going to be more successful. I guarantee it.
Excellent. So, Drive, I want to give you a quick reminder that last time Mike joined us, he talked about social media marketing for fitness businesses. That was back on show 42. So if you missed that, make sure you head back and check it out. Next week, we're going to be talking about how to sell personal training and fitness memberships easily. I'm really excited to have you back on the show, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pre-Call Quick Fire 5.
Yeah, thank you.
It's time for the Fitness Business Podcast Wrap.
Here are my top takeaways for this week's show. Matt said when recruiting new employees, remember to be patient. Aim to forecast when you might need those new team members and advertise for them 30 to 45 days before you need them to start. He said to keep team members engaged, keep in regular contact with them, which means things like daily messages, education pieces, bits of inspiration or motivational tips. All of those are a really great way to stay connected with your team. He also left us with this. He said, be deliberate in your practices. Whatever it is you're going to do it with intent. Do it with passion and with the heart of a teacher. And he said, in order to lead, you must follow first. That was a really nice way to finish off. Tribe, thank you so much for joining me for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. That's it for this week. Don't forget to tune in next week. And for now, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.